From Church Militant Studios, this is the Church Militant Evening News.
Hello, thank you for joining us this Tuesday, February 14th. I'm James Fedewa, along with Hunter Bradford here with Catholic News and Context. Tonight, depressing stats reveal the shocking extent of sex abuse in Portugal. This German cardinal takes more shots at the synodal way, and the FBI's prejudice against Catholics keeps putting them in hot water.
Leading us off tonight, across the United States, attorneys general are blasting Biden's FBI for targeting traditional Catholics. 20 state attorneys general signed a letter on Friday condemning a leaked FBI memo which focused on so-called radical traditionalists. The state AGs wrote, "The FBI must immediately and unequivocally order agency personnel not to target Americans based on their religious beliefs and practices." Church Militant is listed in the memo, and the FBI whistleblower who leaked the document had this to say with Tucker Carlson.
I'm a Catholic, number one, and I think it's appalling. They have found a gateway in what they think is fringe Catholicism in order to move into Christians in general and declare them to be the actual the criminals in this country or the potential terrorists.
In the Pacific Northwest, an archbishop is instructing church leaders on how to approach gender-confused adolescents. Archbishop Alexander Sample of Portland recently issued guidelines explaining the Catholic approach affirms the entire person, body and soul, as well as each person's uniqueness. He advises young people be given diverse methods of manhood and womanhood, and mentions the Catholic tradition is rich with saints, some of whom didn't conform to gender stereotypes. Wow. The 17-page document also states those who experience gender dysphoria should not be judged or ignored, but instead met with compassion.
A German cardinal is blasting his nation's errant synodal way once again. Cardinal Gerhard Mueller, the Vatican's former doctrinal chief, is condemning Germany's infamous synodal way as a, quote, German synodal sect. Mueller wrote, "The homosexual and gender ideologies, which contradict any scientific, philosophical, and theological anthropology, have replaced the hermeneutics of the Catholic faith." He also warned that any bishop who denies the destructive power of sin has failed in his vocation as a successor of Peter.
Turning to the Vatican's Synod on Synodality, the European Continental Assembly wrapped up last week. Church Militant has been reporting on this Continental Assembly, and one more talk we would like to include in our roundup of the gathering is from last week, February 7th, from two Irish synodal leaders.
Many women communicated their pain at being denied their agency in the life and mission of the Church and spoke of feelings of exclusion and discrimination. Many submissions called for women to be admitted to the diaconate and priesthood.
She continued with another aspect of where the Irish synodal path found the Catholic Church to be exclusionary.
Those who are in loving relationships that don't accord with church teaching, including people identifying as LGBTQI+, and those in second unions, also spoke of their hurt, particularly around harmful and offensive language used in church circles and documents.
These continental assemblies are the last part of the regional phase of the Vatican's Synod on Synodality.
Over in Portugal, a bombshell report has revealed the highest rate of clerical sex abuse in the country was perpetrated in seminaries. An independent commission said 23% of the abuse took place in seminaries, 18% in churches, and 14% in confessionals. Researchers recorded over 4,800 victims of sex abuse over the past 70 years, noting that the figures only tip of the iceberg. Abuser priests were sent on retreats, removed from their posts, transferred to other parishes. Some even remained in their parish under surveillance, but only a few were defrocked. Most of the sexual abuse was perpetrated against minors aged 10 to 14. The report said the number of male victims is significantly higher than females.
And here with us tonight to discuss more is our Rome correspondent, Dr. Jules Gomez. Jules, great to see you. So if the abuse was against minors, how come seminaries are so prominent in this report, Jules?
Good evening, James. Remember, we are talking about a poor country in the time of a dictatorship, and this was a period when vast numbers of parents sent their sons between the ages of 7 and 14, to minor seminaries because they just couldn't afford to send them for a good education elsewhere. Now, the hope was that some would become priests, and a tiny minority of these boys did become priests. But that is the reason why they were sent to minor seminaries. Some of the abuse happened in major seminaries as well. And in a few cases, the boys were abused both in minor and in major seminaries, the same individuals. But James, I must say that vast numbers of these boys report that they did have a very happy experience at the seminary, and that they learned a lot and also learned to live lives of discipline.
Well, that's good. Jules, can you tell us more about the girls that were abused, and were any women religious also victims of this?
James, very sadly, young girls were abused in the confessional. So the priest would ask them intimate questions like, about masturbation, and then physically abuse them, or, through acts of, exhibitionism, etc., in the confessional. I mean, it's pretty disgusting and graphic, and I don't want to go into the details here. But we're talking about one testimony from a nun who calls herself Alice, who was abused. And when she reported it to the bishop didn't want to hear. She wrote in her own handwriting a complaint that took 9 months for them even to respond. It was then sent to the dicastery for the doctrine of the faith. And the priest threatened her and said if she named him, he would sue her for defamation. The nun has left the order, obviously, and the case is still being heard, and we don't know whether she will get justice.
Such a tragedy, Jules, but thank you again for your stellar reporting on this, and we will probably be speaking with you again real soon, Jules.
Thank you, James.
God bless.
All right, gentlemen. Only months after his home country of Argentina won the World Cup, Pope Francis is mentioning what's good about sports. This past Friday, the Vicar of Christ met with managers and athletes of the Italian Modern Pentathlon Federation. He told them, "We all know that in life it is far more difficult than in sport. But sport can help us. It helps us because it teaches us that patience, exercise, creativity, and perseverance, one can improve. One can reach goals that seemed unthinkable." True. And when we come back, a concerned mother is giving a school board a taste of their own medicine. And find out how Christmas came early for this leftist zillionaire, but it wasn't Santa coming down the chimney. Stay tuned, all that and more up next.
Thank you for watching the first half of Church Militant Evening News.
If you would like to watch the rest of today's episode, please click the link in the description, and we'll see you at churchmilitant.com. God love you.